Hey everyone, I am happy to announce that on August 17th and 18th, Indieland is coming back over on twitch.tv/thecompletionist. Now for those for you who are unfamiliar, Indieland is our charity event which we raise funds for the Open Hand Foundation, which supports the research and treatment of dementia, a cause that is very close to my heart. In the lead up for this event this year, my team and I have been in close communication with a slew of incredible indie devs and publishers, and we'll be bringing you a ton of first looks, as well as having many developers on stream with us to showcase their games. Now, in order to do that, we've had to completely rebuild the Indieland park. We've got all new themed lands for you to enjoy and fun donation incentives throughout, like over 400 game keys to give away for all of these different titles, in addition to a ton of on-stream milestones that will result in folks getting waxed, eating gross bugs, and you getting to pick what game is featured on the Completionist next year. Last year, you all picked Hollow Knight, and I am so ready to see what you have in store for me. So let's raise some money to beat dementia and have a great time doing it. Welcome back to Indieland.
Some sequels play it safe. Others completely rip up the playbook, drop half their namesake, and change genres completely. Jak 2 is the Jak and Daxter sequel that is bigger and bolder than its predecessor, not content to simply expand on concepts introduced in the original. Jak 2 has a much stronger sense of identity than its predecessor. It's part sequel, part reboot, and it served me up a heaping helping of humble pie. While I loved all the new mechanics and tone changes, this game kicked my butt in ways I didn't expect. Come with me as I switch out platforming for big giant guns while I complete Jak 2.
Here comes a new challenger! Yes! Danger!
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of The Completionist, where we don't just beat the games, we complete them. Now, when I completed Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy, a couple of years ago, it took me completely by surprise, and I ended up loving it. I've been waiting for the perfect time to tackle the sequel, and you know what? The summer doldrums are the perfect time.
A great sequel draws on established goodwill while inspiring new feelings of delight. But they can be difficult to pull off properly, lean too hard into what made the original game great, and people will accuse the developers of just revisiting old concepts. On the other side, change things up too much, and people will lament that it doesn't even feel like a real follow-up. Jak 2 threads the needle perfectly. It's a direct sequel to Jak and Daxter that changes up the formula with very different gameplay while still keeping enough stuff from the first game to make me feel satisfied. It is hands down the best mascot franchise sequel of its time. The game is just Jak 2 instead of Jak and Daxter 2. Cutting Daxter from the title of the game signified how different the gameplay would be, even though the little loudmouth Otzel is still a major character. While Jak and Daxter was a relatively lighthearted affair that focused on exploration, platforming, and collecting, Jak 2 is more like a third-person action-adventure with a heavy focus on gunplay and vehicle movement with a super involved, tonally dark story. Jak 2 swerves towards cinematic storytelling with real stakes. To me, it works way better than it has any right to. But it's worth taking the time to remember what brought us here in the first place. The Jak and Daxter series was born from the great mascot wars of the PS2 era, which were brutal and unforgiving. Some characters rose to greatness, others fell into obscurity. In the case of Jak 2, an entire character was cut from the title of the series just to make a point. I knew I was in for a shift when two big twists happened back to back in an early cutscene. Firstly, there's a 2-year time skip where Jak is held prisoner and tortured. And secondly, Jak speaks. The first words out of his mouth,
I'm gonna kill Praxis!
It's pretty badass to go from 0 to 100 like that. Naughty Dog did the world a favor with Jak and Daxter. It's a gorgeously animated, ambitious 3D platformer, but Jak 2 was developed in a post-Grand Theft Auto 3 world, and the developers wanted to reflect that in the gameplay and tone. Gone were the whimsical, cartoony collectathons of the late 90s. Open worlds with characters who sent the protagonist on missions were the new hotness. But what I found fascinating is that Naughty Dog still put their own spin on the still developing formula. Although definitely inspired by other games on the PS2, to me, Jak 2 is very aware of its own identity and confidently shows off its personality. And I love what it brings to the table. Even though I thoroughly enjoyed playing Jak and Daxter, I thought it was kind of a walk in the park to complete. Jak 2 seems to have heard that observation, flipped me the bird, and zoomed away on a hoverboard, leaving me to chase after it. This game still has things to collect, but the focus is on battle and the perfect execution of certain missions, and I love how easily the sequel transitions to totally different gameplay. It's seriously amazing how boldly the developers just Marie Kondo'd entire gameplay mechanics from the first game. Since this game is less about collecting things than the first, completing it meant that I had to be way more focused on skill and execution. I still had to explore every last corner of the world for precursor orbs, but Jak 2 adds in kick-ass hoverboard sections, races, and shooting galleries in addition to collectibles. The jetboard basically gives the game several Tony Hawk-style sections, and I loved learning how to make Jak shred. And these new additions were a great way to shake things up. But if that was all there was to it, I'd say this game wasn't any harder to complete than the first one. But then I encountered a little thing called Hero Mode. Holy crow, I was not expecting this game to get as insanely difficult as it did once I unlocked this extra mode. It was always on my radar. Ever since I said the first game was easy, fans have been saying that nothing would prepare me for Jak 2's hardest mode. And in this case, they were absolutely right. Jak 2 is the rare sequel that elevates the entire franchise. The developers discarded what they wanted to and made a follow-up that is super distinct. It stands out and has a super strong identity that moves Jak and Daxter forward. Jak 2 is an amazing example of how to amp up a franchise. Rather than simply give the player more of what came before, Jak 2 takes a surprising amount of risks. The payoff is outstanding, and I loved that this game played with my already high expectations to make something totally awesome. It's a worthy follow-up that does way more than I expected, and has a much stronger identity than the first game in the series. At the end of Jak and Daxter, I was infuriated because after collecting so many orbs and doing everything possible in the game, the only reward was a brief teaser for the events of Jak 2. Yet the sequel picks up pretty much exactly where the first game left off, and instantly raises the stakes to heights I never would have guessed. I was shocked that one of the first things that happens is that Jak hulks out and almost murders Daxter. This short scene made me really sit up and go, oh damn, we're doing this, huh? Jak 2 thrusted me right into the action with its revenge plot and just kept raising the stakes from there. But it wasn't just the plot that drew me in. The way the actual moment-to-moment gameplay changed was a bold step to take. Naughty Dog could have pushed out a sequel that was all about finding more orbs and new worlds. But instead they said, nah, we did that already, and made the gameplay reflect those intense opening moments. So at first, I thought Jak 2 was going to be sort of try-hardish, like he was going for a edgy for the sake of edgy tone. Sometimes, a sequel falls into the trap of going for a darker tone just to change things up. But Jak 2 justifies the tonal shift. It really leans into the storytelling, and I loved how the choices affected the content. Jak 2 takes the things that worked from the precursor legacy and fleshes them out even more. The characters are more well-defined and are given good motivations, and the world feels more invested in. Haven City bustles, with cops looking to bust Jak around every corner, and zoomer traffic that is almost as infuriating as traffic in real life. It comes off like the developers didn't want to make a sequel unless they could make the world feel really alive, and they succeeded. But while the world building is great, Jak 2 is all about the gameplay. This game is much more centered around combat than the first game, and it feels super focused. It's a third-person shooter that also has beat-em-up action, and when the two combine, Jak 2 feels excellent. I really wasn't prepared for how awesome the morph gun feels. I was unsure how adding a big old gun to this platformer could improve things, but there's so much done to make the gun feel like a part of the world that it ends up fitting right in. So with the first game, Jak used different colors of eco to perform different actions and solve different puzzles. With Jak 2, Eco powers up the morph gun for different types of shooty mayhem. You know what's better than running fast? Using blue Eco to turn the morph gun into a rapid-fire machine gun. In universe, it feels like the world's relationship to Eco has changed since the events of the Precursor Legacy, and I loved how that was reflected in the game itself. I also love how the game treats Dark Eco. In the first game, it was a damaging substance that was dangerous to interact with, but with Jak 2, it's literally inside the main character. Jak has a twisted relationship with this formerly damaging substance, and he uses it to essentially rage out and turn into a darker, more powerful, and violent version of himself. Instead of the game just telling me that this stuff is bad and I should try to avoid it, it showed me that Jak's relationship to Dark Eco is complex. I was surprised that it went this direction and was pleased that it did so. I ended up really admiring the look and tone of Jak 2. The characters feel larger than life, but still have real understandable motivations and feel grounded. Even Daxter's motor mouth style has more of an edge to it as he deals with Jak's personality changes. And by the end of the story, I was totally invested in what happens next, and I credit the narrative design for doing a great job of getting me hooked. Jak 2 felt fresh all the way through, and for a game that originally came out more than 15 years ago, that's pretty freaking impressive. Although Jak 2 makes a great case for itself and sets up its own strong identity, completing this game was exhausting. If it weren't for hero mode and having to get every single orb twice, as well as a handful of really obtuse time trials, I would say that Jak 2 is one of the strongest sequels I've ever played. But as it stands, finding all the orbs and completing the game and then doing it all over again for hero mode is a bear. So I'm a little split here. I love that this game has a secrets menu. It's a trend that has fallen out of favor in recent years, but I like that Jak 2 straight up tells you that there are things to unlock if you find more collectibles. In this case, precursor orbs. There are significantly less orbs to find in Jak 2 than in the first game, but it feels more meaningful when they are found. Some are just lying around in the open world, some are rewards for completing the numerous side missions, and some are prizes for completing races. And I liked knowing that the orbs had a purpose, even if that purpose was to just toggle on big head mode or get rid of Jak's soul patch. Some of the absolute most difficult orbs to earn are tied up in the time trials. Guys, it just feels like I can barely make it through a game without some kind of time trial that wants to ruin my life. Earning the highest rankings in the different races required some good old-fashioned trial and error, because the game never actually told me what the fastest time to beat was. For example, I could race through and earn a silver medal and have no idea how close I was to the gold, which made it hard to know what to do differently. And these were orbs I didn't even need to earn, which was kind of annoying, but it still felt good to eventually beat the required time. Essentially, I found and earned enough orbs to unlock hero mode, which is New Game Plus with higher difficulty. I started a new save file with all morph gun attachments and all my Dark Jak bonuses, but the enemies were more powerful and difficult to take down. Not a huge deal, right? A ton of games do this with New Game Plus modes. The higher enemy difficulty is usually balanced by starting off with all your skills and increased firepower. But there is a mission in Jak 2 that completely undermines this balance. Anyone who's played Jak 2 knows what I'm talking about. The stupid turret mission. It's called Destroy Ship at Drill Platform, and it is hell. Jak and Daxter hop into a slow-moving, exceedingly vulnerable turret on a track and have to blast at fast-moving enemies with a gun that can quickly overheat. On normal mode, it feels like a difficult but worthy challenge. On hero mode, it's an absolute pain. Jak can only take a couple of hits before succumbing to the incoming fire, and the waves of enemies are relentless. It took plenty of tries and a ton of frustration before I was able to clear this part. I think this is where the game really starts to show its age. Now, I played this game on the PS3 version with updated graphics and trophy support, but to me, it doesn't feel like Jak 2 was designed to be fully completed on hero mode. The higher difficulty is occasionally satisfying, but overall, I felt like it didn't quite do enough to justify its existence. Now, don't get me wrong, I still did it because there's something in my brain that needs to know that I've checked every box and check mark. But damn, it was hard and really put a damper on my enthusiasm for this game. And before you all flip about the PS4 version, I completed the original on the PS3 version, and I wanted to be faithful to that. First playthrough of Jak 2, rad. Hero mode playthrough, sad. Basically, that's what it boils down to when it comes to this game. Jak 2 gave me so many rewards that it feels complainy to say that I wish it had given me more. There's so much game here and so many treasures to find, but at the very end of the day, it really isn't necessary to find every little thing. I love that the game made me master everything it had to offer, but I do wish the bonuses for doing so were more concrete. So as I said earlier, there are about 286 precursor orbs to scrounge up. If you play through the game again on hero mode like I did, that's another 286. The last secret on the secrets menu for both modes is unlocked at 200 orbs. So that's a total of 172 orbs that are basically buffer orbs. In some ways, Jak 2 feels ahead of its time. All these extra orbs reminded me of Mario Odyssey, how there's an excess of power moons to find. But in Odyssey, finding every last moon eventually unlocked something, while in Jak 2, the reward is a simple trophy. The rest of the unlocks for finding orbs are solid and fun to mess around with. There are classics like infinite ammo, invulnerability, and mirror mode. And for the diehard fans, there's the scrapbook and mega scrapbook to be unlocked. It feels rewarding to get this stuff and only highlights how I wish there was just 1 or 2 more bonuses to be had for pushing yourself to the limit to find every orb. When I completed Jak 2, there were 25 deaths. Probably 18 of them of which were on that dang turret mission. 2 full playthroughs, 1 of them being on hero mode. 572 total precursor orbs found over both playthroughs. 35 hours of total playtime. And 1 goatee toggle to turn off and on, but no option to give Jak and Daxter a beard like mine? Come on guys, feels like a missed opportunity here.
Jak 2 is a kick-ass sequel. It forged its own path with a ton of new and fun gameplay elements, instead of just rehashing old ideas. Hero mode is a great unlock and challenge, but I wish the rewards for completing it all the way through reflected the rest of the game's new focus and exciting stuff. So, with that in mind guys, I give this game my completionist rating of finish it.
Finish it!
That's all time for today, guys, so please, as always, let me know about today's episode somewhere on the internet. If you like the show, hit that like button, leave a comment down below about what games you want to see here done on the show, and hey, if you want to support the show, keep us growing, you can do it in a couple of ways. First off, patreon.com/thecompletionist. We have all kinds of crazy custom content for all you out there who want to enjoy it. If you want to get some merch, head over to thecompletionist.com. We got merch all over the place, and of course, there's subscribing. Just hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to make sure you get notifications all the time. We do new videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Guys, I've enjoyed The Completionist, and I'll see you next week for the brand new episode. Bye-bye!